starting Maptitude, you are presented with a quick start. The quick start facilitates fast and easy creation of maps as well as easy access of maps you've created in the past. We're going to begin today by selecting the option to make a map of my own data and then click OK. Maptitude prompts you to identify the data which you would like to map and then to click Open. When using an Excel file, you are prompted to choose the Excel sheet. After doing so, you can click OK. Maptitude reads the data in your file. Since Excel does not have an explicit table structure, the first row in the Excel file is used to identify field names. Maptitude then looks at those field names and attempts to match them to a variety of geographic components by which you can map your data. The various geographies that Maptitude is looking for are listed in the left-hand side of this window under the matching heading, shown in green. You should have at least one of these items in your data, though they don't have to have the same name. On the right-hand column, under your fields, are the matches Maptitude has detected by looking at that first record in your data and using those field names. So using that quick start, Maptitude is showing us the fields of our own data. And if those fields need to be changed because Maptitude doesn't recognize those field names, then we can do so by clicking under your fields to reveal the down arrow, and the fields can then be adjusted as appropriate. This works nicely in particular when you have more than one field and need to specify a difference between perhaps a billing address and a physical address. Once you've had an opportunity to review your fields and make changes as needed, clicking Next will take you to the next screen in the wizard. This screen provides a variety of map types which can be created based upon the field matches on the previous screen. And so this listing is dynamic based upon the fields that you have at any given time. Each of these map types are described and depicted on the left side of the screen. I'm going to select the default type and click Next. After clicking Next in the wizard, we're going to go ahead and select the option to import the data to map it and click Next again, and then provide a file name for the geographic component, the geographic portion of that Excel file that Maptitude will be creating. Once we have determined how we want to attach this data to the map, in this case showing it as points, we have additional options for displaying that data. There are a variety of themes that can be selected. Each of these are described and depicted on the left side of the screen. We'll go ahead and leave this as none for now. We also have the option to display labels, and we will check this option and select the field that we want to appear next to each of the points in the map. You can continue looking at additional options. There is one more screen as you create this particular map, or you can bypass those options by simply clicking Finish. When clicking Finish, Maptitude reviews the data in your file and compares it to the streets that are licensed with Maptitude from here, which is a street data company, and a results dialog is displayed, which indicates the number of records which were located and what methods being used. Clicking OK dismisses that results dialog and opens a map which is zoomed to the area which contains your points. The map window which opens has a number of items in it. We'll begin by talking about the Tools toolbox, shown on the right side of my screen. This toolbox contains tools for moving around the map, obtaining information on features, adjusting labels, and measuring. On the left side of the screen is the Display Manager. The Display Manager is to a map what a table of contents is to a book. Just like a book lists each chapter within it, a map lists each layer within it as well. Just like a book lists the first chapter first, and the very last chapter is the last one you would read, in the Display Manager, each layer is listed in the order in which it is drawn. The last layer listed is the last layer drawn and has the most visual predominance in the map. The Display Manager is comprised of several columns. The leftmost column contains either a plus or a minus. The plus sign indicates the layer can be expanded in order to see additional information. There may be other levels below that which can also be expanded. By clicking the minus sign, each level is collapsed to preserve screen space. The next column provides information about the visibility of a layer. Those layers which have a green check are visible and are drawing on the map. You will notice that those layers with the green check also have the layer name displaying in black. Other visibility icons are a red X or white X and a red circle, indicating the layer is in the map but completely hidden, and a red magnifying glass, indicating the layer is in the map. That layer is hidden for now. That layer will automatically turn on when you have zoomed in enough. You'll see that all of those icons for visibility that are red have layer names shown in gray, indicating the layers are not drawing. You can change the visibility for any layer by clicking on the visibility icon. When clicking on the green check next to my data, the icon changes to a red X and the layer is hidden. Clicking that icon again changes it back to a green check and shows the layer once again. The next column in the Display Manager provides information about labels for the layer. The icon outlined in black indicates that labels are set for the layer and are drawing. The label icon that contains an X indicates that no labels have been set for the layer, and that containing a red magnifying glass indicates that labels have been set but are not drawing and will automatically appear when you've zoomed in. This concept of things automatically appearing when you zoom in is called autoscale. Labels can be changed by clicking the label icon. This opens the labels dialog box, allowing for changes, and we'll look at that later in today's session. The column that is next in the Display Manager provides a style sample for each layer. You can change the way a layer appears by clicking on the Style sample, opening the Style dialog box. Finally, in the Display Manager, you'll see that one of the layers that is visible, having a green check, also has the layer name appearing in bold. Just like in a book, when there are many chapters, you're only reading one chapter and at that one page at a time. In Maptitude, the layer that you are interacting with is indicated in bold so that you can easily keep track of the layer that is having changes made to it. You can change any layer that is visible to the working layer by right-clicking on the layer to display the context-sensitive help or menu and choosing Make Working Layer. That layer will then be shown in bold. Working layer is also indicated in the toolbar at the top of the screen. The working layer can be changed in that toolbar as well. Let's go ahead and use the Zoom In tool to get more detail on this map. The Zoom In tool is the magnifier with the plus sign. When clicking this tool to activate it, you can click and drag a rectangle. When releasing your mouse, Maptitude redraws the map for the area that that rectangle covered. I can continue clicking and dragging, or even just click and get more detail. Once I have zoomed in to a level that I'm satisfied with, I can move around the map at the same zoom level using the pan tool, which looks like a hand, by clicking and dragging the map in any direction. So I can still see the same level of detail, but instead see different areas on the map. If I want to see less detail and more area, I can zoom out by clicking the magnifier with the minus. Clicking it once will show me about twice as much area and half the detail. Or I can click and drag a rectangle. The smaller the rectangle, the more zoomed out my map will become. The zoom in, zoom out, and pan tools can be accessed using the scroll wheel of your mouse. Rolling that scroll wheel forward or away from your body will zoom the map in. Rolling it backwards towards your body zooms out. Pressing and holding the scroll wheel will allow you to pan. I've moved this map around quite a bit at this point, and I just want to get back to the zoom level I had a few minutes ago. I can go back through my various zoom levels by using the previous scale tool in the Tools toolbox. Clicking this repeatedly will take me back to my various zoom levels, all the way back to when the map was created or last saved. When adding data to Maptitude, your data is always added as My Data with the sheet or file name in parentheses. You can customize your map to give a better description of your data by renaming the layer. To do this, right-click on the layer and select Rename. This opens the Rename Layer dialog, where you can type in any name that you please, clicking OK to apply that name and close the dialog box. The name is updated both in the Display Manager and in the legend displayed with the map. This particular layer that I created contains local eating establishments. The blue icons are fine, but I would really like to customize them to be better reflections of the data on my map. I can change the style of this layer by clicking on the blue dot in the Display Manager. This opens the Style dialog box. The title of the dialog reminds me of the layer I'm making changes to in parentheses. I can use any font installed on my system, or I can use a color image, bitmap, JPEG, GIF, PNG, etc. file. I'm going to use the fonts included with Maptitude. There is a fork and knife symbol that I want to use, so I'm going to choose that. And I can see a little sample of this above. I might want to make that a little bigger. And then to see how this looks on my map, clicking Apply will apply that change to the map and leave the dialog box open. I can continue making changes as desired. And when I'm satisfied, clicking OK applies those changes and closes the dialog box. So I have now moved around my map. I've changed the name of my own layer. And then I have also changed the style of my layer. We can change the labels on a map by clicking the label icon in line with the layer. This opens the labels dialog box. Again, this reminds us in the title which layer we're making adjustments to. Currently, our label field is name. If I want to choose more than one field, I'll scroll to the bottom of that drop-down and choose multiple fields. This opens the multiple fields dialog with all of the available fields listed on the left and those which have been selected listed on the right. I know that I want to use my establishment name, so I will pick that and then click Add. But I also want to show the hours of operation, so I will also click Hours and then click Add. I can continue adding fields as desired. When I am satisfied, I will click OK. Maptitude then opens a dialog which allows me to choose different colors for each line of my label as desired. So I want to have the name of my restaurant showing in the same color as the symbol, and the hours for these locations showing in black. Clicking OK closes that dialog. If I at any point want to change those colors, I can do so by clicking the button with the 3 dots next to the color portion of the dialog. Clicking Apply applies my changes to the map, leaving the dialog box open in case I'd like to make additional changes. And clicking OK applies any changes I've made and closes that dialog box. So I have now made changes to my map. And I want to take a look at how this has impacted my map as a whole. So I can go back to my zoom level of the map when it was created using the initial scale tool in the Tools toolbox. Clicking that button will resume or return the scale to what it was when the map was first created or last saved. So I can see how my map looks. I can move labels around in Maptitude using the Custom Labels tool. So if I want to adjust the position of the label, I will choose that tool and click and drag the label to a new place. I have the option by right-clicking to draw a callout, which is a line that goes back to the original location. Or I can automatically add that line using the Custom Labels with Callouts tool when I move the label initially. So this will give me that capability. I can also call attention to any particular features by adjusting the size of a label. So in this case, I may want to have this point stand out more on my map. right-clicking on the label and choosing Customize Style will let me make changes to the font face and size so that the label has more attention drawn to it. So you can see what a difference that makes. So we've done quite a lot with our data shown as points. We've moved around the map, we've renamed the layer, we've changed the style, we've had multiple fields for the labels. We have moved those labels around. I want to take a look at this same data set, and rather than looking at it on an address basis, I want to summarize the data by zip code. So I want to know how many establishments there are in each zip code. So I don't have to change my input data in order to do this. Maptitude can roll that data up to a higher level of geography for me as long as that geographic information exists in my table already. So let's take a look at doing that. Locating the Map menu at the top of the Maptitude window allows me to add data to a map. In Maptitude 2018, I do have the option of using the same map to add data to, regardless of the method that data will be added. So it's very handy, and this is different than in previous versions with regard to showing my data attached to boundaries. I'm choosing the same file, so I don't need to adjust the match fields. And I wanted to show my zip code boundaries with my data attached. So as mentioned, previous versions of Maptitude don't have the capability of adding the color theme to the same layer. If you're not using Maptitude 2018, this will not work quite the same for you. After choosing Show Zip Code Boundaries with your data attached, I will click Next. In this map, I would like to think a little bit more about these themes than we did previously. I would like to show the number of establishments using colors. So I'm going to choose Color Theme, and I will create that theme on the number of records, the number of establishments per zip code. After selecting that, I also have the option to display labels, and I'd also like to label my zip codes with the number of establishments, so I'll choose that same field. After selecting these options and clicking Finish, Maptitude adds my same data set but shown a different way attached to boundaries to my map. So I can see now, based upon colors, where I have the most local establishments by the darker shade of green, and then the establishments within them. So this concludes our time together today.